Reported 3 suspects have been arrested in the attack. With just a few days left before the election, a recent spate of attacks on candidates and rallies seems to be on the upswing. Both the Taliban and the Islamic State are calling for people to boycott the election, and such attacks clearly send a message that going to the polls is dangerous. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports President Donald Trump on Wednesday called for cabinet members to institute budget cuts of at least 5% for their departments next year. Speaking to the press before a cabinet meeting, Trump said he would ask every secretary to make a cut of 5%, if not more, in 2019 after data released by the Treasury Department on Monday showed the U.S. budget deficit rose to its highest level in 6 years. Trump added the Defense Department's budget will probably be $700 billion, down from its current funding at $716 billion. Trump said during the meeting, "Get rid of the fat, get rid of the waste, it will have a huge impact." On Monday, the Treasury released data showing the U.S. budget deficit rose to $779 billion in fiscal year 2018, the highest level since 2012. The Republican tax bill, bipartisan spending increases, and rising interest payments on the national debt were cited as reasons for the growing deficit. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell told Bloomberg the increased deficit was a result of bipartisan unwillingness to cut spending on Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports Manhattan federal prosecutor said on Wednesday that a U.S. Treasury Department official has been criminally charged with leaking confidential documents related to former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort and others to a reporter from digital media group BuzzFeed. Natalie Mae Edwards, senior advisor in the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, was arrested on Tuesday and charged with unauthorized disclosure of suspicious activity reports and with conspiracy, according to the Office of U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman. Both charges carry a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Manafort and his longtime associate Rick Gates have pled guilty to criminal charges and agreed to cooperate in special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into whether President Donald Trump's 2016 campaign coordinated with Russia. Prosecutors said Edwards leaked documents that became the basis of BuzzFeed articles about that investigation. In federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, U.S. Magistrate Judge Teresa Buchanan ordered that Edwards be released after surrendering her passport and posting a $100,000 bond. Stephen Hudak, spokesman for FinCEN, said Edwards had been placed on administrative leave. In an interview with federal investigators on Tuesday, Edwards said she was a whistleblower who made the disclosure for record keeping, according to a criminal complaint filed by prosecutors. Information from the disclosure was reported in 11 articles that appeared in BuzzFeed over the course of a year. Prosecutors said beginning in October 2017, Edwards disclosed suspicious activity reports connected to Manafort, Gates, accused Russian agent Maria Butina, the Russian embassy, and a unit of Prevezon Holding Ltd. Prosecutors said Edwards saved the confidential reports on a flash drive and sent them to BuzzFeed reporters using an encrypted message application. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Bewildered paralegal Caitlin Levy says that after returning home from work today, it occurred to her that oddly at no point during her day was she harassed, leered at, or made to feel humiliated or physically threatened.
It's weird. Looking back on it, I suddenly realized that not one strange man made a creepy comment at me or an obscene gesture or a sleazy look for like the whole day. How can that be?
The 29-year-old told reporters that even at points in her day when she is traditionally almost certain to be made uncomfortable by at least one or two leering male strangers, not a single such instance occurred.
I actually got to walk from the train to my office and never once catch some weirdo smiling at me or looking me up and down or slowing down his car to yell some shit out the window at me. I felt weirdly safe or something.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in lines here momentarily where you can call in to join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is Darryl,
Michael, and Chris.
And Chris, you've got a story that we're going to start with here in just a moment about some justice reform. Possibly, maybe.
Possibly, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Kanye likes it.
Yeah. Kanye, not the Mikey dude from the Life cereal commercial, but Kanye, the rapper who doesn't like Taylor Swift.
That'd be good. And I don't know. I just read Fire and Fury. Anybody happen to stray into that? It was a guy who was invited into the Trump White House to document the first 100 days.
Oh, I think I've heard something about that, but I've not actually read it. And we'll jump into this article in just a moment, but we actually have someone on the phone lines.
Already?
855-450-FREE. Let's go to Peter calling in from Virginia. Peter, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, I'm actually a senior undergrad at a college in Virginia.
All right.
I won't name my school, for just privacy reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I'm taking a con law class, and it's
You're taking a what class?
Con law, constitutional law.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, and so it's a Hamiltonian federalist interpretation of the Constitution, right? And so today in my class we were talking about the Sedition Act, and of course the Sedition Act was implemented by John Adams, who was a federalist, right? And so the whole thing is essentially that anyone who questioned the government, whether it be a federal government, politician or a entity, whatever, you'd be thrown in jail, right? And that was essentially, I made this point in my class that was the whole philosophy of the Hamiltonian Federalists. And boy, everyone in my class, including my teacher, just said, "Whoa, wait a minute, what are you talking about?" And my teacher knows that I am a libertarian, and he told me in front of everyone in my class, a 60-person class, he said, you have to be careful with your libertarian ideology. What you're doing right now is abiding by dogma. And
what's he doing?
I'm here to I'm here to complain about this Hamiltonian cult. They plague us in a million different guises. The whole reason why Obamacare was implemented was because of the general welfare clause. And who came up with that?
Right.
It was Hamilton, right?
Yep.
And the reason why we have a central bank was because of Alexander Hamilton with his implied powers notion, right? So in my class, I do my best to get kids into the Austrian libertarian philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, not everyone has that IQ level to be able to say, hey, we won't need a government. So I do my best to...
Can I hop in here real quick?
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
This is just a thought, but when it comes to Austrian economics and libertarian thought, I don't think you need a high IQ. I think you need compassion.
Right.
I think you need to understand basic concepts of economics. I mean, the most
ethics,
the most basic concepts, ethics, the golden rule. Doing to others as you would wish they would do unto you.
Don't hit people. Don't take their stuff.
Thank you.
It's really simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think when I should have rephrased what I meant to say. I'd be a Rothbardian, so an anarchist. So
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people can't really, think outside the box like that. I think that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, and I think they've been barraged by people in their lives, influential people like your professor in this constitutional law class that have a worldview that they learned, and that's what they are now teaching.
Exactly, and what's ironic is that this con law professor of mine, he was actually a classmate of the Judge Andrew Napolitano, and he taught law school with Judge Andrew Napolitano, and I'm sure you guys are aware that Judge Andrew Napolitano is a radical libertarian, and I think that's why my teacher is on my case, because I actually I've been down to the Mises Institute, and attended a constitutional law class that was taught by Judge Andrew Napolitano, and so I think
I'm sure that irked him.
So I have a different view of the Constitution. But going back to my point, the Hamiltonian
I have a different view as well, and I tend to agree with this guy named Lysander Spooner, who said that the Constitution has either allowed the tyranny that we have or has been powerless to prevent it. In either case, it's unfit to exist. And Peter, thank you for the call. Now, one thing that's interesting about the Sedition Act is it was not illegal to speak ill of the vice president.
Right. Yeah, very, very clear on that. It was the president.
The president, his cabinet, or the federal government itself. But you could say all the bad things you wanted about one Thomas Jefferson.
That would be interesting to see if... I'll see if we make it through one or two Trump administrations without the Sedition Act being brought up again as potential legislation.
Well, there are parts of and there were 4 pieces of legislation under the Alien and Sedition Acts.
Right.
And a couple of those pieces are actually still on the books. They did not ever expire.
Right. So we have the alien portion of that was the ability to basically instantly deport anyone from a country that we felt was not a good country. They were at war with us or something like that. We have the Sedition Act, which meant you could not speak illy of our president. What are the other two? I don't know this. That's why I'm just curious.
Yeah, so let me actually go to ushistory.org, where it says no protesting of the government, no immigrants, no freedom of the press. Apparently, lawmakers could also be incarcerated.
Yes.
They say no. It doesn't describe the Soviet Union during the Cold War. It describes the United States in 1798 after the passage of the Alien and Sedition Acts.
Yeah, and wasn't it it was a member of the legislature, I thought a member of Congress who was jailed, or was that that may have been a journalist. I seem to think that it was someone in Congress who poked fun at how fat Adams was. And that was a lawsuit that ended up going to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, you were talking about, I think, Representative Matthew Lyon of Vermont, who wrote a letter criticizing President Adams' quote, unbound thirst for ridiculous pomp, foolish adulation, and self-avarice.
Come on, there's something about being fat in there too, right?
That would probably be the self-avarice or foolish adoration or adulation.
I think somewhere else he may have referred to him as fat, but that was part of it too. You can't call your president fat.
Yeah, the Sedition Act, according to the write-up here from ushistory.org, says it clearly violated individual protections under the First Amendment. However, the practice of judicial review, whereby the Supreme Court considers the constitutionality of laws, was not yet well developed. Furthermore, the justices were all Federalist. As a result, Madison and Jefferson directed the opposition to the new laws to state legislatures, where we got the Virginia and Kentucky resolutions.
Famously penned by Thomas Jefferson and by, who was the other Virginian? Why can't I?
Madison.
Madison, thank you very much. I don't know. A lot of people feel that this concept that the Supreme Court is the one that should arbitrate whether a law is constitutional or not. They feel that, well, that must be in the Constitution somewhere, right?
Nope.
It's
Marbury versus Madison, where they determined that they got to review.
So it was a third party. Marbury and Madison got together, and they said that
no.
It was the Supreme Court deciding that the Supreme Court had the power to decide every law. So really, when we think about checks and balances, there is no check against a Supreme Court. They can change, modify, do whatever they want with legislation that's passed by, allegedly, our representatives in Congress.
Right, and then, luckily, sometimes the Supreme Court will go back and say, yeah, we goofed up on some stuff, but it seems over the last, 30 years or so, with the exception of Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court can't be questioned about anything.
Yeah, they forgot about the goof-up clause.
Yeah. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. This November, I'm running the New York City Marathon as a member of Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. 2018 has been a banner year for the Innocence Project. Since January, 9 of their clients have walked free. Innocent people who combined to serve more than 200 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. And because of the Innocence Project, the risk of being wrongfully convicted has been greatly reduced for millions of people. October 2nd is International Wrongful Conviction Day. It's an opportunity to draw attention to the countless innocent men and women who remain behind bars and the need to reform our broken criminal justice system to prevent wrongful convictions. At any given time, the Innocence Project represents 200 clients who need their help to prove their innocence. This year, the Innocence Project helped pass a first-in-the-nation prosecutorial oversight law in New York and eyewitness identification reforms in New Hampshire and Louisiana. You can help the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to anypay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at anypay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at anypay.global. That's anypay.global.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, X-Keyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl,
Michael,
and Chris.
And we'll get back to the phones here in just a second. But first, want to make sure that I tell you about Liberty.menu. It's something that libertarians have wanted for, I can think of, at least a decade. A directory of liberty-minded businesses. Liberty.menu is that. It's a tool for our community. At its core, is a directory for events, businesses, digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, and there's also a bit of a social networking aspect where you can connect and share with other users. Use of liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at liberty.menu, and if you use code FTL, you get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. Liberty.menu, code FTL. Let's jump to the phones where we've got Anonymous calling in from Arizona. Anonymous, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts. Hello, Anonymous in Arizona.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead, Anonymous.
I had an experience with one of my brothers.
Okay.
That enlightened me. And I don't want to tell the whole story. I want to carry on a pattern. There's a gold ball on a flagpole. And I've also seen when there's more than one flagpole, some different ornament on different flags.
Okay.
If you have two flagpoles, usually, what color would the two balls be at a school?
At a school? I have no idea.
I don't pay attention to the ball at the top of the flagpole.
Most people don't.
Okay.
But he told me that gold ball, when I told him something about that jogged his memory on a few different directions, he said, "Do you know what's in that gold ball?"
A bolt.
No. A bolt?
There's a bolt that holds the gold ball to the top of the flagpole. I know that there's a myth, and Anonymous, thank you for the call. There's a myth that there's a single bullet, so that if the enemies come to destroy the flagpole, whoever's left gets the bullet out and then blows their brains out.
Right. That sounds legit.
Hey, what?
Oh, you've not heard this?
Dude,
I've never heard
I'm
this.
tracking with this. This is great.
Oh, there's also supposedly a razor so that you can cut up the flag so that the enemy can't actually destroy the flag. They're just destroying all the pieces of cloth that made up the flag.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not at all legit.
How do you know that, Darryl? Have you checked every ball on top of a flagpole?
I've not checked every ball on top of every flagpole.
Have you checked one ball on top of any flagpole?
Yes.
Where?
I've also talked to people that make flagpoles, and they say there is a bolt that holds the bolt. Just like some have eagles, there's a bolt that holds the eagle onto the flagpole.
For those of you in Pennsylvania, he meant to say eagles.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you're saying that this is not true.
That is exactly what I'm saying. It's one of those urban legend things.
I think it's a dandy urban legend. I mean, it's got the action, the drama. Come on, Darryl.
Don't forget the apocalyptic...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is there something specific in there for maybe some holy water to throw on a zombie?
Maybe there is. Maybe Turd Ferguson knows what's inside a flagpole. Turd Ferguson, you're on calling from the Discord. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know what's in it, but I gotta say that was just an absolutely retarded conversation. I'm just not gonna lie, that was just retarded.
Come on, man, I love stuff like that.
Well, hey, I had it makes me mad because I called in with a real legitimate question, and I want to know where sexy. I want to know where sexy Heather is tonight.
That's a good
I have
question.
Absolutely no clue where she is tonight or any other night. Turd, thank you for the call. So, Chris, let's jump in. You've got some news about criminal justice reform? Maybe, possibly?
Possibly.
Kanye apparently pulling some strings?
Yeah. So as I started to go into when we first opened the show...
Or should we say Mr. Kim Kardashian?
Before our first caller there, I just got done reading Fire and Fury, which was this inside the White House look at Trump's first 100 days. You know, and he was invited in, and of course, once the book comes out, it's nothing but completely filled with lies and untruth and fake news and everything. So it got pretty well bashed.
Of course.
But one thing that he notes frequently about Trump's personality is he is very much enamored with celebrity, not just his own, but being perceived by other celebrities as an important person and someone that should be respected. So it's interesting as I, continue to come across these stories about Trump. It always seems to involve some celebrity. or some third world country. In this case, Kanye West's literal embrace of Donald Trump was all over the news last week. The president's rhetorical embrace of criminal justice reform got considerably less attention, but may prove more consequential. And this is coming to us from Reason.com. In an interview with Fox News on the morning of his meeting with the rap impresario, Trump signaled that he was ready to go beyond, quote, back-end reform, unquote, which focuses on rehabilitation of inmates, and support, quote, front-end, unquote, reform, which focuses on reducing sentences and sending fewer people to prison. The key to understanding Trump's remarks is Alice Marie Johnson, whose sentence the president's commuted in June at the behest of West's wife, Kim Kardashian. Johnson.
Hold on, I want to stop here because I know that, and not taking anything away from Kim Kardashian getting in the ear of Donald Trump here, but there were a lot of people raising awareness about Miss Johnson well before Kim Kardashian spoke to Donald Trump.
Sure. And they deserve our thanks and you know, doing the right thing. Right. But I'm never going to fault somebody who's got the juice to be able to get the ear of the president.
Right. That's what I'm saying is.
So call me Team Kardashian.
Right, but there's a lot of people that they think that just Kim Kardashian heard about some person and nobody was ever doing anything prior to Kim Kardashian talking to the president.
Yeah, and that is sad that that's a lot of people's perception, because in all these cases, there's always a lot of people that recognize injustice when injustice is done.
Right.
And, you know, those voices, sadly, in our society may not be as loud collectively as one big-bootied celebrity.
Right. And, you know, it just shows, as you mentioned, the power of celebrity.
Yes.
Because all the people that had been working to get Miss Johnson released from prison, you know, their work wasn't really going anywhere until Kim Kardashian heard the story.
Right. And it's a sad statement that you can probably get more done badgering celebrities for things like criminal justice reform than you can appealing to your representatives.
Yes.
We're going to continue on with this after we get back, but there's more.
Yeah, and also apparently some doctors are wanting to reclassify psilocybin. I think it ties directly in with criminal justice reform.
Are they going to make it one of the 4 food groups?
Maybe.
See.
Hold on, I thought there were 5
I think so.
How many food groups are there?
There's one. It's psilocybin.
855-450 free. That is how you call in. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl,
Michael, and Chris.
And, I just gave you the toll-free call-in line. We also have the Discord, which has call-in options. Chris, you're one of the hosts that actually uses the Discord. I think most of the hosts, other than myself, use the Discord.
That's probably true. Probably true, Darryl. We all do.
So I'm on the Discord, but I have never used the Discord call-in lines.
Neither have I. That's a good point, Michael. I've used the listen line, but I haven't used the call-in line.
Right, but like you actually interact on the Discord.
Right.
So
with that
you can explain
crazy bunch out there
what it is.
Yeah, they always throw this one to me. So
I do, because
Discord is
you use it.
It's a service. It's a free service provided by Free Talk Live, and you can join into our Discord, into our server, by going to
discord.lrn.fm.
And once you get signed up and hooked up, you can go and you can listen to whatever happens to be on the air right now.
Yep.
And then there's some other rooms that cover different topics and things like that, so you can chat with other listeners. And you can interact with the hosts from time to time. Most of us will, except for Darryl, will occasionally drop in and say hi and let us know what you think and what's going on, what's on your mind.
And there's also a toxic user zone.
Oh, there is. So if you're a troll, we have a place for you too. And you can also use it to call into the show, which is really, really cool.
Which Scorched Regolith has done.
Nice.
Go to Scorched Regolith. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi. Since we're already doing the what happened to thing, I was wondering what happened to Mr. Robin Hood of Keene and the guy with the fro.
That would be James, and thank you for the call. That would be James Cleveland, who has left the area. James was Robin Hood of Keene, and quote, the guy with the fro, Garrett Ian, is in Concord, I think. I don't really know.
Last I heard, he was in Concord.
Yeah, that's also the last I had heard. But again, I don't really know. So let's jump back into this Reason article about Kanye West. Donald Trump's infatuation with celebrity and the possibility of criminal justice reform, specifically in the area of drug sentencing.
Yeah, and the idea that Trump says he is now more in favor of front-end reform, which focuses on reducing sentences and sending fewer people to prison, which, yeah, I think I can speak for everyone here, at least in this room, thinks is a pretty good idea.
Yes.
And this was following Kim Kardashian's successful intervention in the Alice Johnson case. And Johnson, I'm sorry, I'm losing my place here, a first-time offender who received a life sentence in 1996 for participating in a Memphis cocaine trafficking organization, has described herself as, quote, a telephone mule passing messages between the distributors and sellers, unquote.
And based on information that I have heard about this case, she didn't even necessarily know what was being sold, who was selling, or who it was being sold to. She would just take phone calls.
Right. Call this person back. While serving nearly 22 years in federal prison, she became a grandmother and great-grandmother, an ordained minister, and a mentor to other inmates. Although it took the intercession of a fellow reality TV star for Trump to free Johnson, he clearly was impressed by her story. More important, he recognizes that Johnson, whom he calls, quote, the most incredible woman, unquote, is not unique in receiving a absurdly disproportionate sentence for a nonviolent crime. Quote, you have many people like Mrs. Johnson, Trump said on Fox News, that are people in jail for really long terms.
Oh, you mean people like Ross Ulbricht who are serving 2 life sentences plus 40 years for operating a website?
Yeah, like that one. Notably, Trump did not say the solution is more commutations, although those would certainly be welcome. There has to be a reform because it's very unfair right now, he said. Quote, it's very unfair to African Americans. It's very unfair to everybody, unquote.
Yes, I agree that putting people in jail for nonviolent, victimless offenses is unfair to the people that are being put in jail. It's unfair to the people that are being forced to pay to put them in jail.
Right.
It's unfair to the prison guards who are having to basically babysit people who have not done anything, actually wrong. Yeah, sure, they violated some words written on paper, but don't we all?
Right. Trump had high praise for criminal justice reforms in Texas and Georgia, which in recent years have seen falling crime rates even as they reduce their prison populations. Quote, they really have done a tremendous job with reform, unquote, he said. These comments, which may seem surprising from a man who has consciously cultivated a tough-on-crime image, reflect the influence of people Trump respects, people like his son-in-law Jared Kushner and former White House Speaker Newt Gingrich, a supporter of the conservative reform organization Right on Crime, and yes, people like Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. That influence could be critical, could be crucial in the ongoing debate about federal sentencing reform. Last May, the House overwhelmingly approved the First Step Act, a collection of modest prison reforms aimed at reducing recidivism and promoting reintegration. The bill is on hold in the Senate, where Judiciary Committee Chairman Charles Grassley, Republican of Iowa, is demanding that it includes sentencing reforms as well. The latest proposal would incorporate into the First Step Act 4 elements of Grassley's Sentencing Reform and Corrections Act. The amendments would widen the, quote, safety valve, unquote, that lets some drug offenders escape mandatory minimum sentences, narrow the criteria for mandatory minimums that apply to repeat drug offenders, clarify that escalating sentences for drug offenders who have had guns requires prior convictions, and retroactively apply the shorter crack cocaine sentences that Congress approved in 2010.
So I'm hopeful. I'm not going to hold my breath because, well, the term is almost over. But, hopefully Congress does wind up passing some kind of reform.
I hope every Congress passes some kind of reform till we have nothing left to reform.
Right.
These are heinous acts. These are things that people do where one could construe the only victim being themselves, if you actually believe that all drugs are evil and bad and cause harm. We do legal harm to ourselves every day. Alcohol is legal.
Right.
Cigarettes are legal. There's all kinds of legal things, but we don't feel that we need government breathing down our necks trying to protect us from those. Drugs are no different. And interestingly, we're finding more and more through research that various drugs are doing a lot of good. You can look at the expansion of medical marijuana across the country, number of states that have picked that up, and you can look at things like what we're going to be talking about, which is psilocybin and MDMA. MDMA for use with people with PTSD. I mean, there's all kinds of examples of that, but you never find out about this stuff when you have this 50-year-long war on drugs that stifled any research into any of these things.
Yeah. And I was listening to something, I forget exactly what podcast it was, but they were talking about back during the Vietnam War era,
right,
when soldiers over in Vietnam were reporting being addicted to heroin.
Yep.
And there were all these concerns of what's going to happen when they come home.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what happened when they came home? They stopped being addicted to heroin because they weren't in a situation that they wanted to escape.
That's interesting.
Indeed.
There are studies that have been done on mice. And yes, I realize mice and humans are vastly different, but they have given mice access to, you can have all the cocaine you want.
Yep.
And when they're locked in tiny little cages all by themselves, they take the drugs. But when they're allowed to be social with other mice, because mice are social creatures,
then they give the cocaine to the female mice.
They stop doing the drugs as much. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free, 855-450-3733.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. The Liberty Dollar was so successful that the United States government had to take it down, and its founder, Bernard von Nothaus. Now Bernard's son Extra has launched Liberty Dollar 2. LD2 is a cryptocurrency, but each token is backed by the same gorgeous fine silver rounds that Liberty Dollar has always been known for. Your silver is secured in an audited vault and can be redeemed at any time. There's only a few thousand LD2 Zero tokens left in the crowd sale at ld2coin.io. Get yours, ld2coin.io.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 8 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield, another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
When you're coping with bad news and the news media come calling, and they will, don't clam up. As notorious political figures find out the hard way, the cover-up can be worse than the crime. So get out in front of unfavorable news about your company, your group, or organization, or yourself. The sooner you confront a negative story, the sooner it will be over. Responding as quickly to negative stories as you do to positive ones enhances your credibility accountability. Hiding embarrassing information or lying will do more damage than damage control. Never stonewall. Tell your side of the story, use specifics, and detail what corrective action has already been taken. Respond in kind. If the issue is emotional, don't sound like a cold, unemotional Mr. Spock. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. We'll jump into this psilocybin story here in just a second, but want to make sure that I tell you about a way that you can keep an eye on and hopefully protect your property and your family, and that would be through the Blink motion-activated HD cameras. These cameras are wire-free, they set up fast, and the batteries last up to 2 years. And the Blink live feed allows you to monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. There are no contracts, there are no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. Alexa, check my Blink cameras. And you get 3 Blink cameras for way less than what the other guys charge, plus get an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's all one word, no hyphens, blinkprotect.com/FTL, as in Free Talk Live. Blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company. So we had been talking about Donald Trump's alleged support for sentencing reform, specifically in the area of drug laws. And, well,
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because, as I see it, Trump seems to take the position of whoever the last person he talked to on a specific issue.
Yeah, it's one of those things you want to be optimistic for, but I think we've all watched everything Donald Trump has done or has said he's going to do, and we have a healthy amount of skepticism within, and he flips whichever way he decides, and I don't think it's all poll driven. I don't think it's driven by any philosophical center that he has. I think you're right. It's whoever talked to him last, whoever
that sounds like a good idea. We're going to go do that thing.
Or that sounds like something that he thinks somebody else will show him approval for.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be voters. It could be celebrities like this case.
Yeah.
Which is my suspicion. But I don't know. Who knows?
So changing gears, kind of, but still staying within the drug realm. This story I've actually had for a couple of weeks, and it comes from Fortune.com. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University hope to eventually reclassify psilocybin from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 4 drug, according to a news release from the research institution. Psilocybin is the psychedelic drug that puts the magic in magic mushrooms. The hallucinogenic drug has been shown to offer therapeutic benefits such as alleviating symptoms of depression and helping people quit smoking. But despite some proven clinical uses, psilocybin is still classified as a Schedule 1 drug, which according to the federal government means it is classified as having no medical use and a high potential for abuse and addiction.
Oh, so it's as dangerous as marijuana.
Yes, that thing that, depending on how you count, anywhere between 27 to 42 states allow for medical purposes.
Oh, so totally harmless.
Or the devil. It's one of those. It's either harmless. It's somewhere on the spectrum between completely harmless.
Hold on, you can't mention the spectrum on a libertarian talk radio show.
Geez.
You might offend a couple of people.
Hey, TV tip for anybody out there on Netflix, Atypical. Very good show. So what the heck were we talking about? Because evidently
drugs
I'm
being on the spectrum.
Yeah. But yeah, the idea of Schedule 1, which was a list of things that we didn't really understand in, 1960s, 1970s?
About 1970.
Right.
Even though there was, the Schaefer Commission?
Yeah.
That said that there's not enough research into cannabis. It should not be classified Schedule 1 until we know more. And Richard Nixon said, we don't know enough about cannabis. We should keep it on Schedule 1 until we know more.
Because it will help us keep the hippies as the enemy.
Yes.
And if we keep heroin on there, it will help us keep
those damn hippies.
Blacks on
the hippies, the poor, the
list.
blacks. Richard Nixon knew enough.
Yeah, he was masterful, and that is not me being racist. Those are
That's
basically
Nixon being racist.
Nixon being racist, and verified by, who was it, H.R. Haldeman or Ehrlichman who backed those up, or was it John Dean?
Probably several people.
Yeah.
Probably also the Nixon tapes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we did have that tape recorder going that whole time. But, that was his political plan, was to keep his enemies down and use drug policy to do that, and we're still suffering under it today, 48 years later.
Continuing on with the article from Fortune, again, they mentioned that psilocybin, much like cannabis, is a Schedule 1 drug, which means federal government says it has no known medical use and a high potential for abuse and addiction. By contrast, Schedule 4 drugs include things like sleeping pills, which supposedly have a low potential for abuse or dependence.
And here's where it has its biggest impact. Number one, it generates all these laws that get people thrown in jail for victimless crimes. And we do not support that. But the other thing that it does, when you're a Schedule 1 drug, it makes it very hard for research to happen.
Yes.
And that is a big deal. So this whole time we could have had research going on about psilocybin. We could have had research going on about marijuana. We could have found ways to help people with these naturally occurring compounds. And I'm actually tired of calling them drugs. They're naturally occurring compounds.
Right. As Cat Williams says, drugs, you got to do stuff too. You got to boil it. You got to add baking soda. I don't know the entire recipe. I'm just saying you got to do stuff to it.
Right.
But I'm glad you mentioned about it being, this drug, or according to the government, a drug that you can't really do a lot of trials with. They do allow very limited. And this article mentions that. It says, but before the FDA, that's the Food and Drug Administration, can even be petitioned to reclassify. Psilocybin first has to clear what's known as Phase 3 clinical trials. That process is expected to take about 5 years.
Oh, only 5 years.
Yeah.
For the FDA, that's actually relatively quick.
Yes, but then you run into problems of if something isn't right in your Phase 3 clinical trials, you've got to start all over.
Yeah, and
or if the FDA rejects the results of your Phase 3 clinical trials, you've got to start all over.
And it's a tragedy that we're still following this idea, and I'm sure that there are people out there that don't understand the history of the FDA, but the FDA was basically created during the Woodrow Wilson administration, and its idea was
precursor from Roosevelt.
Yes,
Teddy.
Yes, he had done some things, but the idea was how do we protect some of our friends in agriculture or in the production of foods like Heinz ketchup.
Right.
So we need to have the government regulate certain things. That way we can make sure that revenues flow to our friends, our political
Heinz
friends.
ketchup is a vegetable.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that would have came out of this. But the idea that anywhere in the Constitution is written that the federal government shall control what you put into your bodies, that's insanity.
Oh, well, see, there's the interstate commerce clause, and what you put in your body comes out of your body in some kind of way, and that might go into a pipe that goes across a state line, and so therefore interstate commerce.
Yeah, and to come up with actual constitutional reasons for any of these, you have to do mental gymnastics like Darryl just went through to try to come up with a way.
But that's essentially what the court ruled.
And that's what they do.
About a guy growing wheat in his own backyard was that he was then not participating in interstate commerce and therefore could be regulated.
Glover versus Filburn. So yes, these are the types of insanity that have led from our perfect Constitution. So when you sit there and go, well, that's not constitutional, congratulations, you identified one of about 1 billion things that have occurred in our country since its founding.
Continuing on with the article, and of course your calls and thoughts welcome, 855-450-FREE. Again, before the FDA can be petitioned to reclassify psilocybin, it must clear phase 3 clinical trials that, again, could take about 5 years. That's not to say that once cleared, psilocybin should be available for prescription use and placed directly into the hands of patients. Matthew Johnson, a Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine associate professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences, says we believe that the conditions should be tightly controlled and that when taken for a clinical reason, it should be administered in a healthcare setting, monitored by a person trained for that situation. So even the entity that's hoping to reclassify doesn't want it to necessarily be, completely legalized, shall we say?
Right.
A little bit more from this, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices. And let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to getthetea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. Getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, October 18th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,225 per ounce. Zen is trading at $14, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,527. Antiwar.com reports Afghan parliamentary candidate Abdul Jabbar Kahraman was killed Wednesday in a bombing attack in Helmand province. The bomb was planted under his office chair, killing him and 3 other people in the room. He is the 10th candidate killed in the past 2 months. Kahraman was behind the creation of the Sangorian militia, a group that works with the Afghan spy agencies to try to infiltrate the Taliban. This has unsurprisingly made them a popular target for the Taliban attacks. The Taliban was quick to take credit for this attack as well, saying Kahraman is a renowned socialist. The Afghan Interior Ministry reported 3 suspects have been arrested in the attack. With just a few days left before the election, a recent spate of attacks on candidates and rallies seems to be on the upswing. Both the Taliban and the Islamic State are calling for people to boycott the election, and such attacks clearly send a message that going to the polls is dangerous. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports President Donald Trump on Wednesday called for cabinet members to institute budget cuts of at least 5% for their departments next year. Speaking to the press before a cabinet meeting, Trump said he would ask every secretary to make a cut of 5%, if not more, in 2019 after data released by the Treasury Department on Monday showed the U.S. budget deficit rose to its highest level in 6 years. Trump added the Defense Department's budget will probably be $700 billion, down from its current funding at $716 billion. Trump said during the meeting, "Get rid of the fat, get rid of the waste. It will have a huge impact." On Monday, the Treasury released data showing the U.S. budget deficit rose to $779 billion in fiscal year 2018, the highest level since 2012. The Republican tax bill, bipartisan spending increases, and rising interest payments on the national debt were cited as reasons for the growing deficit. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell told Bloomberg the increased deficit was a result of bipartisan unwillingness to cut spending on Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports Manhattan federal prosecutor said on Wednesday that a U.S. Treasury Department official has been criminally charged with leaking confidential documents related to former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort and others to a reporter from digital media group BuzzFeed. Natalie Mae Edwards, senior advisor in the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, was arrested on Tuesday and charged with unauthorized disclosure of suspicious activity reports and with conspiracy, according to the Office of U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman. Both charges carry a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Manafort and his longtime associate Rick Gates have pled guilty to criminal charges and agreed to cooperate in special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into whether President Donald Trump's 2016 campaign coordinated with Russia. Prosecutors said Edwards leaked documents that became the basis of BuzzFeed articles about that investigation. In federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, U.S. Magistrate Judge Teresa Buchanan ordered that Edwards be released after surrendering her passport and posting a $100,000 bond. Stephen Hudak, spokesman for FinCEN, said Edwards had been placed on administrative leave. In an interview with federal investigators on Tuesday, Edwards said she was a whistleblower who made the disclosure for record keeping, according to a criminal complaint filed by prosecutors. Information from the disclosure was reported in 11 articles that appeared in BuzzFeed over the course of a year. Prosecutors said beginning in October 2017, Edwards disclosed suspicious activity reports connected to Manafort, Gates, accused Russian agent Maria Butina, the Russian embassy, and a unit of Prevazon Holding Ltd. Prosecutors said Edwards saved the confidential reports on a flash drive and sent them to BuzzFeed reporters using an encrypted message application. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Hamburglar urges a Senate subcommittee to rubble. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Hamburger advocate and convicted felon Hamburglar denounced a prison system he called rubble as he testified before the Senate subcommittee on penal reform. Hamburglar, convicted in 1998 of breaking and entering a McDonald's hamburger franchise in South Beloit, Wisconsin, and currently serving a sentence of 3 to 5 years, made this impassioned plea before being interrupted by U.S. Senator Bob Smith of Rhode Island.
Certainly there is room for improvement in our prison system, but I would hardly call the current situation rubble.
After delivering his message to the subcommittee, Hamburglar was promptly placed in chains and returned to prison to serve out the remainder of his sentence in solitary confinement. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Kicking off hour number 2. You can call in and join us by dialing toll-free 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl,
Michael,
and Chris.
And we've been talking about, well, possibly therapeutic psilocybin. Psilocybin being the substance that puts the magic in magic mushrooms, and apparently there are some doctors at Johns Hopkins University that are hoping, after some phase 3 clinical trials, to be able to petition the FDA for rescheduling, but not really sure if that's going to happen, and the clinical trials can take several years.
Yeah, and that's the sad fact, is that once things get assigned a certain level by governments, to get government to reverse itself on anything government has decided is it takes a while.
You basically have to convince them that they made the wrong decision.
Ooh, we made a mistake. Do we have to admit that? Do we have to tell our constituents, the people that voted for us, that? Because I don't want to do that.
Right.
Nobody wants to admit a mistake, especially not government bureaucrats.
Right.
Right. That's why the states that have legalized cannabis, with the exception of Vermont, where they've legalized it in that they removed most of the penalties, but they don't allow for sale, or you can manufacture small amounts for personal use, but distribution not allowed.
Yeah.
But all of the other states, it happened through ballot measures.
Yeah, and it's interesting. And now here's where we get to the point where more state legislatures are actually taking this on, and that's a good, I think, a relatively good thing. They're going to screw it up. We know that. It's not going to be as free as it should be. As Darryl W. Perry once famously said, you should regulate marijuana like tomatoes.
Right.
I'm paraphrasing there.
You are. And somebody has mentioned that there's a lot of not statutory regulations, but various regulations by various departments of agriculture that apply to tomatoes. And I said, what I'm trying to say is,
it's a good point.
It just shouldn't be, and whatever regulations there are that were written up by some bureaucrat, those need to go away as well.
Yeah, and on that subject, there was another story that I didn't bring in today, but it's a Democrat. I can't remember where he's from, but basically laying out a path for the Democratic Party to make marijuana legalization at the federal level their issue going into 2020. And
Good. They would finally join the libertarians, who have had that position since 1971.
Exactly. But it's interesting to see them, and there's a lot of skepticism about whether it actually go through, but lay out an entire legislative path, including, what committees this needs to touch. And,
right.
And if we were going to do that, and of course, from the Democrats' point of view, it's just about doing this before Donald Trump decides to make it his issue, and then they lose that momentum. It's all about elections and power.
Right.
But not about doing the right thing.
Oh, no. That's an incidental if it should actually come to fruition. But Darryl actually found this article in Vice, which actually came out today, titled, "Here Comes the Legal Case for Medical Psychedelics." Therapist Bruce Tobin is striving to give end-of-life cancer patients magic mushrooms in a clinical setting. This article was originally produced by Vice in Canada. In recent years, there has been no shortage of research suggesting that psychedelic drugs have medicinal applications. Studies out of the United States and Canada have pointed to a whole range of still experimental uses for MDMA and psilocybin, from treating PTSD and depression to breaking addictions to helping us face death. But when it comes to making emerging treatments available to the public, especially drugs with a not insignificant amount of cultural baggage, research alone isn't enough. Looking to the cannabis movement, which just celebrated legalization in Canada on October 17th, that was yesterday, it was court battles over medicinal access that really put gears in motion nearly 20 years earlier, which is why my ears, and these ears are the ears of the author, which is why my ears poked up when Bruce Tobin, an adjunct professor at the University of Victoria and practicing psychotherapist, told a crowd of more than 100 academics last week that he's preparing for precisely this kind of legal battle, only this time he's seeking medical access to the active ingredient in shrooms for end-of-life cancer patients.
Now, this is something that I've not heard discussed. I've heard other treatments of depression, PTSD, chronic headaches,
chronic pain,
but I've never heard about for end-of-life decisions. But I guess if you're at that point of your life, you probably have some depression and possibly chronic pain.
Well, yeah, and the toolbox seems to be pretty limited. And I'm going to say this, if any of you have gone through the passing of a loved one, maybe your parents or things like that, I went through that with both my parents, the toolbox is pretty thin. I mean, there's not much we really do for people as they die. The most common thing they do is let's just slowly give them morphine and then let's slowly deprive their oxygen until they just pass away. And the theory being that that's going to be the most humane way they can do it.
And by humane, they mean painless?
Yeah.
Right. I really think, and
asphyxiation. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not trying to make light of this at all, but I did take some psilocybin for the first time over the summer, and I really enjoyed the experience. If I knew that I was going to die soon, give me that experience as you wind up taking the oxygen away from me.
Right. Yeah. And at this falls to me under the, we have nothing else to do, so a patient should have everything at their access to treat. And Trump has actually passed some things on that, supporting more drugs for people that have terminal diseases. You don't get more terminal than death. That's as terminal as it gets. So in my mind, party on, Wayne. Do whatever you want. I mean,
party on, Garth.
Doesn't matter at that point. In a Friday morning conference session titled, quote, activist. I'm sorry. I apologize, folks. I did not bring a laptop today, so I'm reading this off my phone with my poor eyes. And evidently
Do you want Mark's reading glasses? They're really, really strong.
Well, the best part is...
And he always leaves a pair in the studio.
Because we tend to say a sentence or two and then we start talking about it, that gives my phone time enough to then time out.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. In a Friday morning conference session titled Activist Therapists Taking Initiatives to Changing Laws, Tobin recounted how it was patients suffering from a terminal illness who first asked him to supervise a psychedelic session, a request he knew he couldn't fulfill under Canadian law. Tobin said this patient had tried pills, talk therapy, even $1,000 a day residential treatment in an attempt to beat debilitating anxiety around the certainty of his own death.
Yeah, you can get psilocybin for a lot cheaper than $1,000.
Right.
Right.
They had read the same studies many of us have, recounting in the New York Times and elsewhere, that found a one-time psilocybin trip in a clinical setting can help relieve overwhelming existential distress. Quote, I was uncomfortable about breaking the law, but I didn't want to ignore the suffering of my patients or my ethical duty towards them, Tobin told the crowd. Quote, I thought if I don't want to break the law, I better try to change the law. This call to action prompted one of the most enthusiastic rounds of applause I've heard that morning.
Now, I am curious if he actually did wind up, and he's probably not going to admit.
Right. Did he provide that or not?
Did he help this person?
We'll find out.
Maybe we will. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information, so pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
It's happening every day. They sip some kind of chemicals through the floor.
Oh, so it's like gas.
It sounds crazy, but it's the truth.
I was under the impression they were coming into your house and holding you down.
Well, they can come in. Oh, yeah, I got remote controls right now. I can't find them. I listen to this preacher man. Every time I listen to him, some kind of way they turns the station off.
Maybe it's just going off.
I mean, you'd be surprised.
They've got the remote, Mark.
How much power they have, and that's what they got. They got a lot of power.
I think you should go get some help.
I think you should talk to somebody who cares about you and ask them about psychological help. Somewhere, someone has had gas pumped into their room, but I just don't think it's happening with Mary because she's outspoken.
What does she speak out against? I should have asked her that.
I don't know.
Damn it.
You're done.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Michael, and Chris.
And we'll get back into the article from Vice about a legal case for medicinal psychedelics.
And in Canada, just a reminder, it doesn't apply in the United States yet.
Well, the legal reasons should apply anywhere of, hey, it's currently illegal for doctors to help their patients.
True. I'm just saying that they're not pursuing legalizing that, as this article is describing, takes place in Canada.
Correct. But again, we'll jump back into that, plus your calls and thoughts here in just a moment. But you've probably heard us talk about Zencash. Well, they recently rebranded within the last couple of months to Horizon. However, the cryptocurrency itself is still known as Zen. And Free Talk Live is giving away some Zen. Over the last 10 weeks, we've given away over 14.5 Zen, and we're giving away some more. To enter the next giveaway of 1.75 Zen, send your transparent Zen address via email to Darryl@freetalklive.com. That's it. There's no word of the week because some people weren't spelling the word correctly, although I was taking the close, if it was close, I would accept it, but, that might sway some people. Telling us how you listen to the show. Some people might, listen multiple ways and then not really think, which one should I list? Trivia questions, not really working for getting entries. Guessing numbers, pretty good, but, we've done that a couple of times. This is the easiest one yet. Send an email with your transparent Zen address via email to Darryl@freetalklive.com. That is all you need to do, and you need to do it before noon Eastern on Wednesday, October 24th.
Right. And that's open to hosts and co-hosts of Free Talk Live, too, I'm pretty sure,
It's open
Michael.
to all listeners of the show who have not won any previous Zen giveaways.
You and I were listening through these headphones, right?
And everyone who enters will be automatically entered into the grand prize drawing on November 7th.
Yes.
Again, just send that email with your transparent Zen address via email to Darryl@freetalklive.com. And if you want to learn more about Horizon, go to horizon.global. Horizen. Horizon.global. Let's go to the phones where we've got Sarah calling in from Nuevo Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thought.
Yes, I just want to say I appreciate this show so much because I believe that it has helped me to put a hawk light in front of that middle school.
Put a what light?
I do feel that a hawk light, a high-intensity activated walk signal.
Right.
Oh, okay. I thought it was some type of light for birds. Or
You're talking about
something.
the one Michael and I just went out there and installed a few days ago. Is that the one you're talking about?
Well, in front of a Cleveland middle school where the mothers collected like 3,500 signatures.
That was us.
And the power of this show is that, there are some mothers or the neighbors that are listening to this show. And I was talking about the hawk light 10 times before that 12-year-old girl got killed,
I don't know about a 12-year-old girl getting killed because there wasn't a hawk light.
Well, that's the reason. There was a crosswalk, but there was an event like 7 o'clock. But I was talking about the hawk light, how, many different ways. We have two of them here. I was talking about educating the people about the availability of a hawk light. And then at 7 o'clock during like a concert or something at the school, she got killed at that crosswalk.
So when you say that, we helped you put this thing up, did you go out and raise money for this, or you just talked about it on the radio?
So the only thing, the show helped by talking, explaining to people what it is and how it worked, and it was available to us. And
no, I don't think we explained what it is or how it worked. You may have mentioned it. Thank you for the call, but you've not really explained how the thing works. You just sort of said it's a thing that exists and they should exist more. And yeah, I don't think that Free Talk Live should take the blame because some politicians did something to wind up spending a bunch of money in Albuquerque.
I don't know. I think Michael and I are just going to take credit for it. So we'll leave you out of this.
Well, we had a bunch of these hawk beacons down in Austin, Texas, where I was living last winter, and so I'm kind of familiar with them.
What exactly is this? Because Sarah, she is right that she's called in about these things, but she's never actually explained what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a hawk beacon. What it does, it's a pedestrian signal that allows to stop traffic so that pedestrians can cross the street. They put these in areas where there are a lot of pedestrian traffic.
We have something that down by the college here in Keene, where as soon as a student crosses between two posts, flashy lights go off.
That's something different. This is for the pedestrian. They just have like a button they push to get the walk signal.
Right.
All right.
And what happens is there are lights over the street in both directions. There's 2 red lights, an amber light, but no green light.
All right.
When traffic is supposed to keep going, it's dark.
All right.
When a pedestrian comes up and hits that walk button, the amber lights come on.
All right.
And then the 2 red lights come on. Both red lights are on.
Yep. And there's absolutely no way that a car could drive through the crosswalk.
Well, I mean, they can run the red light.
People do run red lights, yes.
But the red lights mean they're supposed to stop when those red lights are on, and the pedestrians start walking across the street. Now, in a few seconds, those red lights are going to start flashing. When the red lights flash, it's like a stop sign. If there's nobody in the crosswalk, you can stop. The cars can stop and then go.
All
and
right.
when the red light goes dark, then it's just like agreeing. The cars just keep going.
Okay, so I'm already hearing some status people that may be listening right now going, "See, what a great idea by government." But I doubt if these things were created by government. I'll bet some inventive sign or safety company came up with this idea and said, "What a great idea. I'll bet we can market this." And I'll bet there's going to be some cities that take advantage of it.
Indeed.
And I think it's great. I'm hesitant, as Sarah's often eager to jump to thanking government for anything related to public safety. But, I applaud any effort like this by private companies that put something out there that might save a life.
So if the Wiki article is to be believed, and I know some people take Wikipedia with a grain of salt. Other people take it as the gospel truth.
Some people write their whole doctoral dissertations based on Wikipedia.
According to the history section, the first beacon was developed in Tucson by Transportation Administrator R.B. Nasi, Ph.D., and installed in the year 2000. The idea suggested by his wife.
There you
Your
go.
calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. And I'm really surprised that the Hawk Beacon didn't have something to do with deterring birds. 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you you can go this way? You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What I tell you, and we'll get back into the psilocybin talk here in just a moment, but what I tell you about where Ian and Mark are going to be in just over a week. 10 days, 9 days from now, something like that. And it's actually, Michael, where you were just a few days ago, and that would be Austin, Texas. But they're actually going down for an event, the Texas Bitcoin Conference, with multiple networking opportunities, panels, and keynotes from industry leaders. 2018's Texas Bitcoin Conference may be the best one yet. The Texas Bitcoin Conference has everything from a governance panel to a juggling workshop with speakers like Bruce Fenton, Lynn Ulbricht, and more. For the full schedule and for tickets, visit texasbitcoin.com/schedule. That's it. TexasBitcoinConference.com/schedule. Go to TexasBitcoinConference.com and get your tickets right now. TexasBitcoinConference.com.
Now, Mark's not going to actually go down there. He's just going to get off the train when it passes through Austin.
Yes.
Is that what he's doing?
He's currently on a choo-choo.
Right.
And you can follow some of his choo-choo adventures in after shows on various episodes of Free Talk Live. You can find the archives at archives.freetalklive.com.
Is it Mark and his magic choo-choo, or does it have a clever name like that or something? Or is
Amtrak.
No. I meant Mark's little production.
The Edgington Post?
The Edgington Post?
Edgington Post. Ian's just calling it Choo-Choo Adventures.
Okay. Well, I like Choo-Choo Adventures. I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's a much better name.
Choo-choo.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've been talking about this Vice article that came out of Vice Canada about a psychiatrist, a psychoanalyst up there who has been confronted with how to assist his patients dealing with what is likely the most traumatic event anyone could ever go through, and that is their own death. And he had a patient that had pretty much tried anything and basically went to him saying, if I could, I would really like to try hallucinogens as a part of a way to deal with this
specifically psilocybin.
Right. Quote, overwhelming existential distress. And he was reluctant to break the law. With studies from Johns Hopkins Medical Center and New York University in hand, Tobin applied for an exemption under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act in January 2017. In early discussions with Health Canada, Tobin learned he was the first therapist to bring forward a proposal of this kind in Canada. So far, the feds have been reluctant to move forward with the application without enthusiastic endorsements from British Columbia's health ministry and medical regulators. Players Tobin says have been, quote, non-committal, unquote, when approached by his team. But Tobin says the project felt wind in its sails again this summer when he connected with two Toronto cannabis lawyers interested in taking on his case pro bono. One of those lawyers, Peter Lewin, has 20 years' experience on the cannabis file and even defended for one of Canada's landmark cases in 2013.
It's always good when you come across some lawyers that are willing to, lawyers in your field, that are willing to take your case pro bono.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing definitely in the cannabis cases, there's certainly law firms that are springing up around that, but there's also a lot of people who just realize it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And they're more inclined to take something on, to donate some of their time pro bono to making these things happen. Quote, he told me the other day on the phone that this is his most exciting case, unquote, Tobin told Vice shortly after his talk. So that's really infused a new sense of energy and momentum into our dream. With his new legal team and 6 other therapists, Tobin officially launched Therapeutic Psilocybin for Canadians project days before weed became legal. Tobin hasn't been formally rejected by Health Canada, and he still hopes for a solution outside of a courtroom. But given that Canadian courts have already decided that limited medical access to an illegal drug like cannabis violates our constitutional rights, Tobin is feeling optimistic about the future of psychedelic science and treatment in Canada. Quote, I expect this time, the timeline is going to be much shorter, Tobin told Vice. My basic attitude towards the whole thing has been careful, modest steps. Slow and steady wins the race. So we have been given our project a very narrow focus in terms of what we want to see initially. We're targeting end-of-life patients for whom nothing else has worked. Of course, there are still lots we don't know about psychedelics, particularly when it comes to long-term effects. For now, Tobin is limiting his request to patients with terminal cancer diagnoses, people so paralyzed by psychological distress that it's interfering with their other treatment and who don't have a, quote, long-term to look forward to. But Tobin suspects this definition could expand over time as more studies and clinical trials accumulate.
And correct me if I'm wrong, if either of you know or anybody listening, 855-450-FREE, but when California first introduced therapeutic cannabis or medicinal marijuana, depending on what term you want to use, back in, the late 90s, it was very limited, right?
I'm assuming. I can't remember the history of it.
I know a lot of states that currently have some form of, and New Hampshire calls it therapeutic cannabis.
Right.
It's started off fairly limited to people with chronic illnesses, people with things that were basically terminal, and then it slowly expanded to include a more broad-based. If you have chronic pain that's not life-threatening,
right,
you can now in a lot of states get the therapeutic cannabis.
Yeah, this is really the definition of playing through the system in the United States. I mean, if you can get in drug law, if you can get something passed that allows you a modicum of freedom or a modicum of allowing the research to continue, then the odds, barring anything unforeseen occurring that would stop that.
Right. And
it's not a bad move.
This is one of those things where a lot of people, they'll look at me because I'm a radical libertarian that says that, weed should be as legal as tomatoes. And what I mean by that is when you go to the store, they don't say, sorry, sir, but you can't buy all 4 jars of the marinara sauce.
Right.
Buy as much marinara as you want. Buy as many tomatoes as you want. There's not regulations on that, but states like Colorado and Oregon, they put limits on how much cannabis you can purchase. But they'll look at that and then say, oh, so you must be one of those people that if you were serving as a legislator and somebody put forth a bill to, put some kind of experimental thing. No, I would vote for it as a step towards, all right, cool, we've got it. Now let's work on expanding it and expand it and expand it. Just like if I were a state rep and there was a bill to cut taxes by 5%, great, let's cut taxes by 5% this year and then 5% next year and 5% next year and just keep cutting it.
Till we're out of percents to give away.
Right, so that's how negotiations work. You ask for a lot more than what you want, and then you slowly get there.
I understand that. It's just one of those things that I don't think libertarians or likely Democrats or Republicans will ever fully grasp when it comes to how to pass legislation.
Right.
Some people want all or nothing, and some people are going to take a slower, I think, more pragmatic approach to things.
Right, and then there are the people that, a lot of the self-described pragmatic libertarians that instead of advocating for maximum freedom, they'll advocate for half of a baby step.
Right.
No, you accept half of a baby step towards whatever, and you say, let's just keep taking baby steps. Let's go to the Discord where we've got Christian Anarchist calling in. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, guys.
How's it going? What's on your mind?
Hey, Gene.
Yeah, I wanted to going to go take a little trip down memory lane here and explain why I hate the media so much.
All right, and we'll do that in just a moment. I didn't even look at the clock to see that we were almost out of time on this segment, but we'll get back to Gene and his trip down memory lane. Don't know if that trip involves psilocybin. Maybe, maybe not. 855 450 free. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
The Liberty Dollar was so successful that the United States government had to take it down, and its founder, Bernard von Nothaus. Now Bernard's son Extra has launched Liberty Dollar 2. LD2 is a cryptocurrency, but each token is backed by the same gorgeous fine silver rounds that Liberty Dollar has always been known for. Your silver is secured in an audited vault and can be redeemed at any time. There's only a few thousand LD2 Zero tokens left in the crowd sale at ld2coin.io. Get yours, ld2coin.io.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Michael,
and Chris.
And want to tell you about Bitcoin.com. It's a website that you can go to learn about all kinds of cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin, which was the original and approaching its 10th birthday. Either at the end of this month or in January, depending on how you count.
How you count it, whether it was the white paper or whether it was the first release of the code.
Right.
First mining.
Yes, the first mining, because the code was put up on GitHub prior to the first mining, but still within next couple of weeks or a couple of months, Bitcoin will be 10 years old. Hard to believe, double digits already. But Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveAtPurse.com. Over the last 4 years, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million of savings using Bitcoin BTC. And you can now fund your account with Bitcoin Cash BCH. And again, you can save between 5 and 33% on things that you were going to buy anyway, or maybe you're just buying it because you get to save a little bit of money. Doesn't matter. Again, average saving is 15%. I've got a couple of items that are coming my way where I'm saving between 20 and 33% on those items. Here's what I did. I went to saveatpurse.com. I added items to my cart. I funded my account. I selected my discount, and now I'm saving. Saveatpurse.com. All one word. Save at purse. Saveatpurse.com. And let's go back to the Discord call-in line where we've got Gene, the Christian anarchist, calling in. And Gene, you said you want to take a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, some on the Twitter feeds, I came across a video from 2012, Golden State Bombs End This War. And for anybody who was involved in the Ron Paul campaign, it's an amazing video. But it reminded me of why I hate the media so much. I mean, I've hated the media for a long, long time because 90% of what they print is either just ignorant mistakes or outright lies. And the Ron Paul, if somebody goes through that video, they'll see the crowds that Ron Paul was drawing during the campaign for 2012 presidential run. I predicted, in fact, I called Free Talk Live and I predicted to Ian, I said, Ron Paul's going to win this thing because at the very beginning of 2011, he was pulling in crowds of thousands and thousands of people. And I went to one of his rallies and I got all excited about it. And I said, you know what? Here's a movement. Here's a movement of the people. The people want liberty. And this thing is growing and it's rolling downhill like a rock rolling downhill.
Yep,
this
gathering steam.
Pick up a lot of steam. And it would have. My prediction would have been true and Ron Paul would have been president if it weren't for the fact that the media not only buried every story that was about Ron Paul, but then put out false information about Ron Paul because,
of course,
there were and somebody can go on YouTube and pull up all the clips of all the dirty tricks the media did to Ron Paul in 2012 to torpedo that campaign. Now we could have been living in a more liberty-friendly environment right now had Ron Paul won that election. America would be totally different than what we're currently living.
And no argument. I just and you want to single out the media, which I agree. I mean, it just, and I'll say the mainstream media because there's a lot of people in media like Darryl. I consider Darryl certainly part of the media who I respect. But mainstream media is pretty much taken the issue I have is there's this club. And that club is made up of the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, and the media. And depending on the issue and depending on which way money's flowing in a given election year, it's going to flow between those three in some direction that's going to exclude a liberty-type candidate.
Right. And
what does a Ron Paul have to offer Rupert Murdoch? What does a Ron Paul have that's going to benefit the Republicans or the Democrats?
A whole bunch of slow news days.
Right. Man, we have no wars to report on. I guess we'll just...
People's candidate.
Yeah.
The people's candidate was Ron Paul. The people were excited. People were walking out on the streets with signs. I mean, I've never seen this kind of energy behind a presidential campaign at the grassroots. Now, yeah, there's always energy at the top with the big movers and shakers. But this is the first time I've ever seen where average Joes were spending time draping signs off of bridges and climbing up trees and draping signs from trees. It was just crazy. It was an amazing time.
Yeah, Romney never had that. McCain never did. Trump never did. Well, maybe a little bit with Trump, but
I not in my Trump has been, I think, the closest for that cult of personality type. That inspired a whole lot of people that really had no idea what they were.
What about
what they were supporting?
Ross Perot? Did he have he had a lot of support, but I don't know if it was sort of the same level of grassroots.
Ross was never really a live event kind of guy. Ross
was not very charismatic.
Well, he was funny,
but he had pie charts.
He did. I can show you right here. He says easy as I can tell the rear end of a steer from Iraq. That and he was folksy. And he got people listening and got people looking at his numbers, but it was mostly a TV show.
And the funny thing is, Ron Paul was not charismatic. He was this goofy doctor from Texas who, he was just this skinny little old guy, and he would get up there with his kind of squeaky voice, and people would go nuts. People were just crazy because of the message. It wasn't the man so much as the message, and the fact that he had a history behind him that guaranteed that he was going to do what he said he was going to do.
Right.
There was no question. Even his enemies realized that he was a man of his word, and whatever he said he was going to do would have happened had he gotten elected. It was a different time, and anyway, I just wanted to reminisce and bring that up to the minds of people who were there, and people who weren't there, they can go look at YouTube and see what they missed out on.
Well, they missed out on this time around, Gene. Here's what I can't wait to do. I can't wait to talk to you about the next Ron Paul. And I don't know who it's going to be, but there is going to arise out of the liberty movement somebody who is charismatic, somebody who has strong ethics, and is able to convey these ideas to
Elon
regular
Musk?
people. It will not be Elon Musk.
I was
if
thinking
so,
more
I
like
may eat my shoe. Go
I was
ahead.
thinking more like Darryl Perry.
Right? Yeah, maybe it'll be Darryl Perry.
I tried that 2 years ago, not doing it again. The type of running that I'm doing these days, and Gene, thank you for the call.
Thanks, man.
Running I'm doing these days involves, putting on a pair of shoes and getting a race bib and race shirt and running down
You're running
a street.
marathon.
You are.
Yeah.
And a quest for liberty is very much a marathon. And even if you look at the major candidates at the major parties, it's not like every 4 years both sides throw up these amazing charismatic candidates. I will say that Trump was very charismatic, and he's a TV reality show star.
Right.
Okay, so that translates well to modern politics. But it may be another 2, 3, 4 election cycles. We're going to see somebody rise up that's going to, again, bring this message that more people are grasping. More young people are getting the ideas of liberty, and we just need the right voice to bring it forward.
Yeah, and one thing that I will say, and you see this a lot, and you mentioned sort of cult of personality.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that with some of the supporters of Ron Paul, to where it became more about Ron Paul the man than anything he was saying.
Right.
And how dare you speak ill of or say that he made a wrong decision when he endorsed every Republican, including the author of SOPA.
Right. Yeah. You're going to get this. And I don't think you're ever going to have anybody who will be as pure as the purest libertarians want.
Right.
Who will ever have any desire to go into the cesspool that is national politics. You're going to need somebody who understands if we want to move ahead, then we're probably going to have to compromise a little bit too. I hate compromise when it comes to my freedom and my liberty, but if it moves the ball forward, that's what we got to focus on.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
If you owe any money to the IRS, you need to call this toll-free number right now. 800-511-2084. That's 800-511-2084. Uncle Sam has the power to make your life miserable. You could stop the collection process right now by calling 800-511-2084. That's 800-511-2084. When you call the Tax Support Group, you'll get free information on how you can reduce your back taxes, including penalties and interest. You could also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have entered into a payment plan and can't make the payments. Stop Uncle Sam right now. Make the free call that could help you end the worry today. 800-511-2084. That's 800-511-2084. 800-511-2084. 800-511-2084.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, October 18th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.54 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,225 per ounce. Zen is trading at $14, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,527. Antiwar.com reports Afghan parliamentary candidate Abdul Jabbar Kahraman was killed Wednesday in a bombing attack in Helmand province. The bomb was planted under his office chair, killing him and 3 other people in the room. He is the 10th candidate killed in the past 2 months. Kahraman was behind the creation of the Sangorian militia, a group that works with the Afghan spy agencies to try to infiltrate the Taliban. This has unsurprisingly made them a popular target for the Taliban attacks. The Taliban was quick to take credit for this attack as well, saying Kahraman is a renowned socialist. The Afghan Interior Ministry reported 3 suspects have been arrested in the attack. With just a few days left before the election, a recent spate of attacks on candidates and rallies seems to be on the upswing. Both the Taliban and the Islamic State are calling for people to boycott the election, and such attacks clearly send a message that going to the polls is dangerous. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports President Donald Trump on Wednesday called for cabinet members to institute budget cuts of at least 5% for their departments next year. Speaking to the press before a cabinet meeting, Trump said he would ask every secretary to make a cut of 5%, if not more, in 2019 after data released by the Treasury Department on Monday showed the U.S. budget deficit rose to its highest level in 6 years. Trump added the Defense Department's budget will probably be $700 billion, down from its current funding at $716 billion. Trump said during the meeting, "Get rid of the fat, get rid of the waste. It will have a huge impact." On Monday, the Treasury released data showing the U.S. budget deficit rose to $779 billion in fiscal year 2018, the highest level since 2012. The Republican tax bill, bipartisan spending increases, and rising interest payments on the national debt were cited as reasons for the growing deficit. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell told Bloomberg the increased deficit was a result of bipartisan unwillingness to cut spending on Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports Manhattan federal prosecutor said on Wednesday that a U.S. Treasury Department official has been criminally charged with leaking confidential documents related to former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort and others to a reporter from digital media group BuzzFeed. Natalie Mae Edwards, senior advisor in the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, was arrested on Tuesday and charged with unauthorized disclosure of suspicious activity reports and with conspiracy, according to the Office of U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman. Both charges carry a maximum maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Manafort and his longtime associate Rick Gates have pled guilty to criminal charges and agreed to cooperate in special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into whether President Donald Trump's 2016 campaign coordinated with Russia. Prosecutors said Edwards leaked documents that became the basis of BuzzFeed articles about that investigation. In federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, U.S. Magistrate Judge Teresa Buchanan ordered that Edwards be released after surrendering her passport and posting a $100,000 bond. Stephen Hudak, spokesman for FinCEN, said Edwards had been placed on administrative leave. In an interview with federal investigators on Tuesday, Edwards said she was a whistleblower who made the disclosure for record keeping, according to a criminal complaint filed by prosecutors. Information from the disclosure was reported in 11 articles that appeared in BuzzFeed over the course of a year. Prosecutors said beginning in October 2017, Edwards disclosed suspicious activity reports connected to Manafort, Gates, accused Russian agent Maria Butina, the Russian embassy, and a unit of Prevezon Holding Ltd. Prosecutors said Edwards saved the confidential reports on a flash drive and sent them to BuzzFeed reporters using an encrypted message application. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The CEO of Dollar Tree unveils the long-rumored foil baking pan. A new donor liver complains about the difficulty of working with Lou Reed. And a local couple keeps their marriage together for the sake of no one. We'll keep this as quick and painless as possible. This is the Onion Week in Review. A study published this week in the Journal of Financial Economics found that 83% of gamblers quit right before they would have hit the big one. Researchers confirmed that roughly 8 out of 10 gamblers who walked away from slot machines, poker games, horse races, roulette, and other games were consistently just a single stake away from winning it all, and unknowingly gave up a lifetime of fortune by quitting prematurely.
Our study proved that subjects who closed an online poker session, walked away from a slot machine, or even gave up gambling altogether would have won millions of dollars in the next bet. Also, people who walk away after hitting it big are missing out on a chance to make more money. I mean, when you're hot, you're hot.
In other news, an Asian guy has a separate group of Asian friends, and a vain Galapagos tortoise tries to pass for 90.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. We're kicking off hour number 3, and you can call in to join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. You can call in toll free 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And the us in studio is Darryl,
Michael,
and Chris.
And we've been talking mostly in the last hour about medical psilocybin, and also had a trip down memory lane to talk about media bias. And of course, Sarah called in with a traffic report about some kind of hawk light that has nothing to do with birds.
Yes, that Michael and I installed over the last weekend.
Apparently.
In Albuquerque.
Yes. But changing gears ever so slightly, Michael, you've brought in a story about some cops being sentenced to something for something.
Well, I like to...
is that a typo?
Is what a typo?
Where the cops actually got sentenced.
Like, did they mean to say Crips were sentenced?
It's so rare that I get to share good news, but this is from Reason.
Nice.
And published yesterday. Florida judge sentences corrupt cops to prison. Slams prosecution for slap on the wrist. In quotes.
All right.
In an effort to boost his department's standing in the local community, a Florida police chief found a way to solve every robbery case in his town.
All right.
Former Biscayne Park Police Chief Raimundo Atesiano enlisted the help of 2 officers, Charlie Dayoub and Raul Fernandez, to arrest innocent black men for robberies that occurred in the area in 2013 and 2014. I think we talked about this on FTL a while back.
They have.
Probably. Sounds like something that would have been discussed.
In July, the U.S. Department of Justice charged all 3 men with conspiracy to violate civil rights. When it came time for Dayoub and Fernandez to face their actions in court, however, a judge criticized prosecutors for being too lenient.
Whoa, that's also a sentence that you don't generally hear.
Right.
Generally, it will be, some lawyer for the ACLU that accuses the judge of being too lenient when it comes to sentencing government employees.
So this is what the judge did. U.S. District Judge K. Michael Moore sentenced both Dayoub and Fernandez to 1 year in prison for making false arrests. The men were hoping to avoid prison time by helping prosecutors make their case against Atesiano, who was the police chief, who pleaded guilty to civil rights conspiracy last month. Judge Moore reportedly told Assistant U.S. Attorney Harry Wallace that allowing the former cops to avoid jail time would have sent a terrible message to minorities, was insulting to others in law enforcement, and would have amounted to a slap on the wrist.
Did he not get the script? It doesn't sound like this judge got the script. I mean, this is the playbook that's been going on for decades.
Yeah, the judge went a little off script here.
Yeah.
Department of Justice attorneys had recommended 8 months of home confinement for Dayoub and 1 year probation for Fernandez. Moore said the prosecutor's recommendations were sentencing manipulation.
Sentencing manipulation. That basically sounds like code for prosecutorial discretion, because we work for the same team, and if I want to continue working with this team, then I can't recommend the same sentence for them that I would recommend for everybody else.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The Biscayne Park Police's arrest conspiracy affected residents as young as 16. The unnamed teenager was arrested for 4 previously unsolved burglaries without evidence. In another arrest, the department pinned 5 separate vehicle burglaries on a 35-year-old. The charges were eventually dropped when the department did not provide sufficient evidence to prosecutors. Officer Anthony Delatorre repeatedly told an internal affairs investigator that officers instructed to collar any black person with somewhat of a record and charge them with the burglaries.
Right, so somewhat of a record could mean, oh yeah, they had a tenth of an ounce of cannabis that one time.
There were a jaywalking conviction.
Right.
Just anybody that crossed their path once before.
Right. But I've watched enough TV to say, okay, go round up some of the usual suspects. We'll pin it on one of them that doesn't look like they've got a good, strong alibi.
That's pretty much what they did.
Right. And they're not going to have the means to fight against us. So, hey, we get a conviction out of it. Everybody goes home at the end of the day.
Or
except
even,
that guy.
Even, sometimes there are people that do have solid alibis, but as you mentioned, they might not have the money for a private lawyer, so they get the public defender that never calls the boss, who could testify that, yes, he was at work at that time.
Yeah. It's very sad, and people who lack the financial means, this is it's indicative of an oligarchy when those who are in power can prey upon those who don't have it and then are likely unable to fight the charges.
Right, and going back to something that Gene the Christian Anarchist said in the last hour when he was talking about, government and, specifically mainstream media being part of the same club. To quote George Carlin, it's a big club, you ain't in it, and it's the same club that they used to beat you over the head.
That's right.
Nutshell.
That's right. So the 2 cops are going to prison for a year. They're actually, they'll probably live through it, but the police chief will be sentenced on November 27th. So we'll certainly have a follow-up when that happens.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, is a year even a reasonable sentence for what's happened here?
I guess all they really got them on was making the false arrests.
Right.
Right. So what really should happen, and I realize I'm looking at this in a utopian lens,
right?
But these officers should personally be held liable for making restitution to the people that they have wrongly arrested.
Right.
These officers, and I'm one of the handful of people that thinks that in 99.9% of cases, prison is not the right answer.
Right.
I think that these officers, instead of having their housing and food and clothing provided at taxpayer expense for another year of their life, they should be forced to take a minimum wage job at Burger King, working as the fry cook.
Or something like that.
Prison is certainly not the right answer. It's pretty much not the right answer for just about anything. But at the same time, it's good that these people are no longer in law enforcement.
It is. The question is, will they stay not in law enforcement? I mean, that's
once you've got a felony conviction, that's pretty much it.
I'm not even.
Are any of these things felonies?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that may keep them from going and joining another force in a neighboring state.
Private security firm if the security firm is not too picky, but
probably not, because there are some states where I can't work as a security officer because of an outstanding warrant in South Carolina.
Not that you're admitting to that
for
on the
supposedly driving without a seatbelt, supposedly speeding, and supposedly not coming to a complete stop at a stop sign.
See how he did that, kids? He didn't admit anything. Learn that. But it's interesting on a couple points. All right. So first of all, I hope they don't work in law enforcement ever again, because they're dishonest people.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. To Darryl's point, restitution is one of these things. We need to make that a thing. People need to talk about that. When crimes occur, people need to be compensated for the harm that was done to them by the people that did them harm. And in our system, we don't often get that out of our courts. I mean, sometimes a decision will come down that involves restitution. But more often the case is, well, if they want to, pursue this further or recover some of their wages, they're just going to have to go into civil suit and file suits against those officers in civil court.
Right,
civil court.
But generally then it's not against the officers, it's against the department.
Which
means taxpayers.
Exactly.
Because this government indemnifies the officers.
It does. And it indemnifies themselves against anything. So again, and you have to have the means to take that suit in the first place.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening in your home anytime, anywhere. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather keep their clients in the dark. There are too many lawyer jokes to count. However, there are some lawyers with more noble intentions. At the Institute for Justice, we bring the light to our clients. We are a non-profit public interest law firm with clear values and principles. At IJ, we fight for those whose most basic rights are denied by the government. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Michael,
and Chris.
And we've been talking about all kinds of things related to the criminal justice system, and we're going to stay on that track here in just a moment. Chris, you've got an article about some asset forfeiture reform in Mississippi, or actually the need for asset forfeiture reform in Mississippi. But want to let you know what I'm going to be doing in just over 2 weeks. That's going to be in New York City, running the New York City Marathon as a member of Team Innocence Project. I'm a passionate supporter of their work, and 2018 has been a banner year for the Innocence Project. Since January of this year, 9 of their clients have walked free. That means innocent people who combined to serve more than 200 years in prison for crimes they did not commit were released from prison. At any given time, the Innocence Project represents 200 clients who need our help to prove their innocence. This year, the Innocence Project helped pass a first-in-the-nation prosecutorial oversight law in New York and eyewitness identification reforms in New Hampshire and Louisiana. And with your help, they can help even more people. You can go to run.freetalklive.com. I've already met the minimum fundraising goal set by the New York Roadrunners, but I have a personal goal of $5,000, and right now I think I'm about $265 away from that. So please, even $5 helps. Run.freetalklive.com.
Nice. So this article comes to us from the National Review, which one would say would be a more conservative paper than others that we've been quoting from today, I guess.
Yes, definitely more conservative than Reason.
Yep.
Or Vice.
But this is titled, Mississippi Shows Need for Transparency Around Civil Forfeiture. This recent legal invention will continue to turn American principles of presumed innocence and due process on their head. In the topsy-turvy world of Justice Kavanaugh's confirmation hearings, we were told that a person should be considered guilty until proven innocent, and that we must always believe accusers even when their allegations are unverifiable, remote, and arise under suspicious circumstances. For conservatives, the hearings were a reminder of why the presumption of innocence is a bedrock American principle and why the founders guaranteed that citizens would not be punished unless they had been convicted of a crime under a fair and impartial process.
That's actually not what the founders guaranteed. They guaranteed that there would not be criminal punishment. There would not be punishment through the court system.
There we go. But long after the Kavanaugh hearings have faded from the spotlight, another recent legal invention known as civil asset forfeiture will continue to turn American principles of presumed innocence and due process on their head. Unlike criminal forfeiture, in which the state seizes property of someone convicted of a crime, civil forfeiture is based on the tortured legal fiction that property can be, quote, guilty, unquote, of being connected to a crime, and that civil proceedings can therefore be brought against the property itself instead of its owner.
Right. And one thing, and I know that the article gets into this, but one thing to mention about the way the proceedings, i.e. the court cases, if there ever is one, in these civil asset forfeiture, is the case would be United States federal government v. $275,000 cash.
Right.
And then someone would have to wind up saying, that's my money and it's not related to drugs. And then you have to prove that it's not.
Right. You have to prove the innocence.
Right. So there's not a beyond reasonable doubt where the state has to prove that it is. It's you have to prove to the court it's not. So you have to prove a negative.
Correct. Cars, cash, guns, and even houses are routinely seized. Rather than being innocent until proven guilty, property owners often have a heavy burden to prove that their property was not connected to criminal activity and can be punished by having the property forfeited, even if they have not been charged with, much less convicted of a crime. The proceedings usually have minimal judicial oversight and no real due process protections. To make matters worse, law enforcement agencies get to keep the property they seize, which creates a perverse incentive for agencies to abuse the process.
And not only that, there are also various allocation or distribution systems.
Yep.
So some states will say 45% goes to the local police department, 45% goes to the state general fund, and then the other 20% goes to, something else.
Right.
Whereas at the federal level, if you go through this, and I forget the term that is used, it's like federal adoption or something, to where the local police call up the DEA or some other alphabet agency and say, hey, can you wind up adopting this? Then the local police keep 80% of the proceeds.
Right. And you'll often see that used by states that have passed some law against state, involvement in the forfeiture, civil forfeiture. But the feds, the feds still have a law on the books.
Right. And you often, in a lot of places, you'll see a really, really, really nice car that has the police logo on the side. And then somewhere on the back, it will say, this used to be a drug dealer's car. Now it's ours. Oh, so Mr. Police Officer, man, you're admitting to Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Oh, no, it's not Grand Theft Auto when we do it.
Only when you do it. Not surprisingly, abuses have been systemic and well documented. For example, the Sheriff's Department in DeSoto County, Mississippi, agreed to return a 2006 Chevy Trailblazer owned by the mother of a criminal defendant, but only if the department was paid $1,650.
So basically,
what?
We'll sell you this truck for $1,600.
But it's my son's truck. I know, but that's the price.
Doesn't matter. See, we have possession, and possession is 9/10 the law, and we have the keys. If you want it, give us $1,650.
It is common for parents to have their property seized for the alleged criminal activities of their children, even if the parents were completely unaware of the alleged crime. In many cases, the parents enter into an agreement to let the agencies keep all or part of their property. Further complicating this pattern is the fact that often the seized property is worth less than it would cost in legal fees to contest the forfeiture. All this leads critics to view many forfeiture proceedings as little more than a shakedown. This system also allows law enforcement agencies to fund themselves, circumventing the legislative appropriations process.
And I've heard, and of course, this is one of those things to where you never really know what it would cost to take one of these things to court, but I've heard that on average it's about $10,000.
Yeah, that's a number that we've talked about here.
That's the low end.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about this in just a few minutes, but it's disturbing, and especially if you're not familiar with this process. The police can take it whether you even get convicted or not.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
In these uncertain times, it makes sense to have a sustainable backup method to cook food and boil water. If your current plan includes using a fuel-burning stove or cooking over an open fire, then there's a much better way. The Minuteman Rocket Stove is a biomass-burning cooking stove that only requires small quantities of sticks and twigs for fuel. The Minuteman Stove is easy to use, smokeless, portable, powerful, and sustainable. For the finest in survival cooking stoves and fire starters made right here in the USA, go to MinutemanStove.com. That's MinutemanStove.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855 450 free. That's 855 450 3733. We'll jump back into this article from National Review about the need for civil asset forfeiture reform. And they're looking specifically at Mississippi to explain why we need asset forfeiture reform. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about another giveaway that we're doing. You heard earlier in the night about the Zen giveaway, but there's also a Liberty Dollar 2 giveaway. Yeah, that's right. Liberty Dollar 2 has released its limited LD2 Zero token, and Free Talk Live is giving away 10 LD2 Zero tokens. That's a $350 value. Each LD2 Zero token is backed by an ounce of silver, a gorgeous .999 fine silver round, just like what Liberty Dollar was famous for. To enter, send an email to contest@freetalklive.com. Couple of instructions here. Put LD2 in the subject line and include a number between 1 and 1,000. Again, LD2 needs to be in the subject line, along with the number between 1 and 1,000. That email needs to be sent to contest@freetalklive.com. The winner will be selected on November 5th, and if there's a tie, the prize will be split. Liberty Dollar 2 will help you set up a wallet to receive your prize, and you can learn more at ld2coin.io. That's LD, the number 2, ld2coin.io.
Yeah, and we're talking about an article from National Review, a very conservative publication, and they are looking at the insanity, which is civil asset forfeiture. And they talked a little bit about how a woman, a mother of somebody who was accused of a crime, was told that they could buy back their 2006 Trailblazer for $1,650. And then they comment that this amounts to a little bit more than a shakedown, and it really allows agencies to fund themselves without having to go through the whole trouble of justifying their existence and their expenditures to the voters. At a bare minimum, agencies should have to publicly report the property they seize and how they spend the proceeds to prevent abuse and allow the public to ensure that forfeiture laws are being properly applied. Note, this is from me, Chris. I disagree. Just do away with the damn law. However, even this modicum of reform is often met with opposition from law enforcement agencies that have become an interest group in the debate over forfeiture laws. Despite the protests of law enforcement agencies, initial reforms have already shown the need for transparency and further protections. Mississippi recently passed a law requiring the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, or MBN, to maintain a website listing all property that is seized by it and other law enforcement agencies. The website was launched on July 2nd, 2018, and immediately revealed a widespread problem. MBN and many other agencies were routinely pursuing forfeiture of property under a system known as, quote, administrative forfeiture, unquote, which allows the agencies to forfeit the property without filing a petition in court. In many instances, the only thing the agency was required to do was provide a description of the property on a website for 30 days. The problem was that the law allowing the administrative forfeiture has been repealed on July 1st, 2018, the day before they launched the website.
Hold on. I'm sorry, and I might still be a little concussed here because I did knock myself in the head earlier today, but I thought I heard you say that there was a law that was repealed the day before some website was launched where they were listing stuff that had been seized under administrative forfeiture.
Mississippi recently passed a law requiring the Bureau of Narcotics in Mississippi to maintain a website listing all property that it seized by it and other law enforcement agencies. The website was launched on July 2nd. Now, this immediately came under some scrutiny because the problem was that the law that allowed administrative forfeiture had been repealed on July 1st, the day before.
All right, so I did hear what I thought I heard.
You did.
All right.
This is government in action.
Maybe the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics is also collectively concussed.
Or maybe they're sampling some of the things that they are
Maybe they're
seizing.
on the narcotics.
The Mississippi Justice Institute, a constitutional litigation center, sent a letter to NBM informing the agency that it was violating the law. 9 days later, the agency, to its credit, sent letters to multiple property owners informing them that MBN was returning their seized property, totaling over $100,000 in cash, along with other items. While it's reassuring that the agency followed the laws once informed of the change, there is every reason to believe that the improper forfeitures would have continued indefinitely absent the transparency that allowed an outside group to notice them. Even more disturbing is that when alerted to the change in the law, MBN still had time to file petitions in court to pursue forfeiture of the property under regular civil forfeiture laws.
Right, because the administrative forfeiture didn't require them to file anything in court.
Didn't require anything. That the agency chose not to may indicate that it knew the forfeitures would never hold up in court. Law enforcement agencies are entrusted with enormous responsibility. Every effort should be made to ensure that there is not even the appearance of self-interest when these agencies enforce the law. Civil forfeiture clearly jeopardizes that independence, as well as basic American principles of fairness and justice. While further reform is needed, forfeiture transparency is a basic minimum and should be established in every state.
Yes.
And again, I will repeat, just do away with the damn laws. There is never...
Yeah, there's no need for civil forfeiture. It's a complete miscarriage of justice. I mean, when I first heard of it, I was reminded of the witch trials where they would tie the witch, the suspected witch, up and throw her in the water. And if she sank, she was innocent. But if she floated, she was a witch.
Right.
And also a duck and made out of wood. And she turned me into a newt, but I got better.
But that's the whole thing. I mean, if we talk about asset forfeiture, and if one could argue a legal reason to do it, it would be because let's say I'm a thief and I stole all sorts of stuff and I fenced it, and then I bought guns with it, and I was going to use that in my next crime. And,
all right,
and the
that
cops,
would be criminal.
That would be criminal forfeiture.
Exactly. The point being is that one can make a legal claim that criminal forfeiture is probably not a real violation of rights because there has been a victim. You know what I mean?
Right.
And those goods could be sold to compensate the victim and all sorts of things. But this idea that it just may have been used in a crime. We can't prove that it did. We're not even going to try.
But in a lot of cases, the criminal forfeiture is used against people for drug offenses, where there arguably is not a victim.
I don't disagree with that, Darryl, at all. What I am saying is that through this whole convoluted mess of violating everybody's rights and enriching police departments,
right?
It just needs to go away, and there's nobody can make a sound case in my mind for civil asset forfeiture. It doesn't exist.
There was a hearing in some committee in the New Hampshire legislature within the last couple of years to get rid of civil asset forfeiture in New Hampshire, and the police departments. There were numerous spokesmen for all levels of police that simultaneously said, we don't use this, but if you pass this bill, we're going to lose a bunch of money and think about all the stuff that we won't be able to do to drug dealers.
Right. What's your point? Yeah, I mean, they talk out of both sides of the mouth.
While confusing civil and criminal forfeiture. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
The Liberty Dollar was so successful that the United States government had to take it down, and its founder, Bernard von Nothaus. Now Bernard's son Extra has launched Liberty Dollar 2. LD2 is a cryptocurrency, but each token is backed by the same gorgeous fine silver rounds that Liberty Dollar has always been known for. Your silver is secured in an audited vault and can be redeemed at any time. There's only a few thousand LD2 Zero tokens left in the crowd sale at ld2coin.io. Get yours. ld2coin.io.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch. Guarantee you'll love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now to 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Michael. And Chris.
And want to thank, and we've been since, last month and a half, thanking amplifiers, and we're going back, starting basically with the oldest or the longest, however long they've been on the list.
Longevity, not age.
Yes,
there we go.
One.
Not the oldest. Okay.
And so if we've not thanked you yet, personally, then we'll get around to it, unless you have requested to remain anonymous, because amplifiers are anonymous by default unless they say, yes, you can share my name. And one of those people that has allowed us to share his name is Mike Sylvia, who some people might recognize as State Representative.
Heck yeah.
Mike Sylvia. He is a platinum amplifier. That means that he gives at least $25 per month. I don't know exactly how much any of the amplifiers give. I don't look at the books, or at least not that side. All I know is here are the names that I was given of the next 7 people, put them on the list, and Mike Sylvia, you made the list. So thank you, Mike, and thank you again to all of the amplifiers. And you can become an amplifier for as little as $5 a month when you go to amp.freetalklive.com. That's AMP, amp.freetalklive.com. And that money helps us do 3 things: advertise, market, and promote the show. Specifically to program directors of broadcast radio stations, because they're the ones that make the decisions, generally, to add us to new radio stations. Now, sometimes there's a corporate boss that will tell the local guy, you don't get to make any decisions. We tell you exactly what to play.
Some guy in a suit.
Yeah, most of them are guys in suits.
The man.
Yeah, the man. So, there are some... I don't want to say networks, but some companies that they're more top down, others are more bottom up. So in a lot of cases, the program directors do get to make decisions. In some cases, not so much. But those are the people that really need to see that advertising and promotion of the show.
You bet. And the idea is it helps everybody. It helps us. It helps us get the words, the message of liberty out there. And it helps small businesses. I mean, most radio stations, they're looking for adding advertisers, and we offer a unique message.
Yes, and we're right now on 190 radio stations. We could be on a lot more. AMP, A-M-P, amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to the Discord, where we've got David calling in. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thought.
Yeah, I had originally called on to comment about what Gene was talking about, and you guys, the conspiracy between the political parties and the media. But let me save that for another night, because you started talking about civil asset forfeiture. And first of all, let me ask you: do you? I wanted to share something that might be helpful. But first of all, do you see the parallel, the commonalities between civil asset forfeiture and people losing their children in a civil government process when no crimes have been committed?
Yeah, there's certainly a parallel there. Absolutely.
Right. What obviously I won't go through it all right now, but if people look at not that you're fans of the United States or the founding documents, but if you look at the amendments 4 through 10, there's a lot of helpful information, and there are a lot of helpful clauses for dealing with combating wrongful civil asset forfeiture. One key thing is what I've noticed, that the legislature, the government, law schools, legislatures, lawyers, judges, the whole racketeering crowd, what they've been doing over time is things that used to fall under criminal jurisdiction. What they've been doing is to increase their power to take stuff from you and control you. They've been writing not more criminal laws, but they've been writing laws under civil code that to take your things and control you. And because it falls under civil law and not criminal law, they pretend that they can escape the protections of the amendments I mentioned, Amendment 4 through 10. And, for instance, Article 4, Amendment 4 says, no unreasonable search or seizure. And, what exactly
without a warrant.
Exactly. And so obviously they're violating Amendment 4. And if you look at Amendment 5, what's helpful in there is not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So they're obviously violating that.
Right.
And if you look at when you look at Amendment 6 in all criminal prosecutions, you see the founding fathers that they forgot to be more concerned about their civil lives, and they wrote in criminal here and there, and that's the loophole that these people are leaning on to do the stuff that they're doing. I forgot what it was.
Right. So you're making the point, David. Thank you for the call. You're making the point that Spooner made is that
that's all that was
the
going
Constitution
through my head.
has either authorized the tyranny that we have or
been
has
powerless
to prevent it. And he wrote that 148 years ago.
Yeah, and I don't know how people, and I was one of these people. I could look at the Constitution and say this is why America is the greatest country on earth, because we have all these freedoms, and these freedoms are protected by the Constitution. But at some point, folks, you just got to kind of wake up and go, well, is it really protecting us when you can go through the whole list? You can go through the entire Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, and you can list examples of your government failing you.
Right.
Failing to follow their own rules. Keep in mind, there are tens of thousands of laws that are pointed from government at you like a gun. If you step out of line, they've got a million things they can nail you on. You know what you have to protect yourself from government?
You've got a 4-page document that you hope a judge is going to wind up saying, oh, yes, this applies in a lot of cases, because I've tried it. Unless you specifically file some kind of motion prior to your court hearing, a, quote, fleeting reference to the Constitution is not admissible in court as evidence that the Constitution applies.
Yeah, and that's the insanity of this situation we find ourselves in. We don't live in a constitutional republic or not. To claim that we live in a constitutional republic would imply that we follow the rules of said Constitution.
The irony is George Bush had it right. The Constitution is a piece of paper.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's all we've ever had to protect ourselves.
Just a piece of paper.
Right.
It's whether the government is actually following the words on that piece of paper, which we know they're not. They haven't been for over a century. Lysander Spooner told us that.
Right.
Well, sometimes they'll go by the word the. Like that's in there, and it's kind of hard to violate the.
No, and the government will certainly use it when it talks about their powers. These powers, the few powers that
general welfare, we'll just construe that to mean everything.
Yeah,
interstate commerce,
even
absolutely.
Though Madison, when he was the guy that wrote the thing, when he was president, he vetoed some legislation saying, yeah, just because you claim that this is tangentially related to this thing doesn't mean that it actually is.
We were talking earlier about some of the Federalists, and Hamilton in the Federalist Papers hammered on the idea of the common clauses being used in ways that they shouldn't be. He's under Publius. He spoke on this over and over and over, saying that no one in their right mind is going to say that building new roads or the government regulating how much wheat you can grow on your land falls under the Commerce Clause. That's never going to happen.
Right. You can't just build a road and say, well, see, the Constitution says post roads, and this is a road that the postal people will use, so therefore we can do it.
It's a postal road.
Madison vetoed that. Eisenhower wound up saying, yeah, go with it.
Let's build America's Autobahn.
Eisenhower interstate system.
Unbelievable. Look at these things around you and look at all the ways the government has violated your rights.
Thanks, George Washington. I was going to say your calls and thoughts welcome, but we're out of time for tonight. But they'll be welcome tomorrow, just like they are every other night of the week, because we're always online every night, and we're online at freetalklive.com.
Bags. I mean, it's just so hard to believe that it's really all gone.
It was in this living room 3 weeks ago that the Talbot family discovered their DVR had suddenly and inexplicably crashed, deleting more than 5 years' worth of recorded live events and miniseries.
I keep having